Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Spooktober Cinema. This one was a special bonus episode that we didn't originally plan on doing.
It was a bonus, all right.
But one of the fans of the show and a regular on the channel, Fred, was like, you guys have to watch this. So we watched Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman from 1943.
I feel like he was trolling us.
It's the direct sequel to Universal's The Wolfman, starring Lon Chaney. Picks up 4 years after this, after that film, where Chaney is now in his grave, and it opens up with grave robbers breaking in and lifting the lid on his coffin, and then the full moon brings him back to life.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Everybody has the worst luck in a movie that involves a werewolf, because they're like... Also, in any werewolf movie, the full moon will appear, like, several times.
Yeah, apparently the lunar cycle in films is different than it is in real life, so...
It was like 4 different times in this, and I swear to God, like, between the third and the fourth time, there was only, like, a day difference of a transition in there, and it's just like, full moon again.
So he wakes up, and from his death nap, and, kills at least one of the grave robbers that we know of. And then his body is found, I guess after he had transformed back into Larry.
Yeah.
Laying somewhere along a dock somewhere in England. Like it's this place is all just vague settings. Like you really don't know where you're supposed to be. But he ends up being taken into Queen's Hospital. Yeah. Where we get introduced to Dr. Mannering, who is his physician taking care of him.
Dr. Luke Wilson.
It really looks like Luke Wilson. And him along with the inspector are trying to figure out who this John Doe is they brought in. He says, I'm Larry Talbot. I come from this village. They call the police in the village, and they're like, well, he died 4 years ago.
Yeah.
They're like, well, they can't be Larry Talbot then. And then, like, of course, he's talking about, I turn into a wolf, and I kill people, and I want to die. And they're like, okay, so he's crazy. So we just need to lock him up. But Mannering's like, there's more to it than this. So like, he wants to investigate it. And as he's investigating it, they go to the grave and stuff. They find out that, Larry once again is turned into the Wolfman and chewed through his straitjacket.
Yeah.
And escaped.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, now we're on to another section of the film. This film is definitely in 3 sections.
Yeah.
The way that they put it all together. And you're like, okay, so now we're following Larry as he goes to look for the gypsy woman. Right. Who told him of his curse in the original film. Whose son was actually the one that turned him into a werewolf, bit him and turned him, and then he actually killed her son with the silver cane that supposedly had killed him and ended the Wolfman. So he goes and he finds her, and she's like, I can't help you, but I know somebody who can. So they get on a wagon and ride who knows for how long to Visaria, which is another vague European location.
Yeah.
And along that journey, apparently you find out later, he has transformed several times and killed people along the way. So who knows how long that journey is taken.
I thought Visaria was actually a medical surgery.
So, and at this point, it's when Matt looks at me and goes, when does Frankenstein get involved in this film?
Yeah, and then I remember you're like, well, we're not there yet. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
So the gypsy woman's taking him to see Dr. Frankenstein. So they get to Visaria and they're asking about, the Dr. Frankenstein, and they're like, he's dead, the creature's dead, don't mention that name in this town, and she's like, and of course, Lon Chaney is like, he can't be dead.
Yeah. He can't be, he just can't be.
Yeah. So now he's,
he can't be dead. I want to be dead. He can't be dead. I want to be dead. He says like a million times, like, what's it going to take for me to die? Yeah. It's just like, I didn't see this many people get together to be like, let's make sure this man dies.
Yeah, we need to make sure he dies. So they're like, okay, well, we're going to go see if we can find anything in the ruins of the castle. So they get in the wagon again, and they're heading up through, and all of a sudden, Lon jumps off the wagon and takes off and turns into the Wolfman, and she's yelling for him to come back, and he actually goes out and ends up killing the waitress that they see when they first walk into the restaurant. Because there's a scene, like, they're really focused on her, and you're, like, wondering why. Well, it's because it's his victim.
Yeah.
So then there's the scene of the angry mob of villagers carrying her body back into town and telling the mayor that they have to, like, go after this wolf. And then they go and they're shooting at him. And he ends up falling into they're like in the ruins, and he falls through the floor or the ground into like this ice cave.
Yeah.
So he's like down there, like rolling around, jumping all over the place.
That was fucking hilarious too. It's like he's just in there, and they're like, "All right, Lon, just go with what feels natural." And he's just rolling on the ground, jumps on a wall, falls, rolls around some more, and then he finds like this sheet of ice that's covered in snow, and somehow realizes that there's somebody behind it. I don't know how he noticed, like how he saw. Mm-hmm. But he's just breaking the shit out of it, ripping it apart, and Frankenstein, the monster's in there.
This time played by Bela Lugosi for the first time.
Yeah.
And last time, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because he was not very good.
No.
So he finds it. Meanwhile, they've arrested the gypsy woman for, I guess, to being a gypsy, and they
look at you with your earring.
Yeah.
You're under arrest.
So, Lon and the creature, or Larry and the creature takes him to the ruins of where Frankenstein hid his, diary, which of course the creature would know where this was.
Of course.
It was behind one of the bookshelves that apparently didn't burn. And he pulls it out, and there's this like metal box that's locked, and he like knocks the lock off of it, and he's digging through all these papers, and then like you can tell he's pissed. And I'm thinking, how do you know that all these papers aren't like important notes about the procedure and stuff like that?
He's just throwing them all over the place.
Like, I'm like, why? You're so focused on it's got to be in a book that you're probably like throwing away really important documents.
He doesn't read shit, any of it.
So at this point, the film kind of jumps, because now we're getting introduced to Frankenstein's daughter. So this would have been either, I guess I'm assuming this would have been the son of Frankenstein's daughter. So this is original Henry Frankenstein's granddaughter also, because they find a picture of her.
Yeah.
And Larry's like, well, this is obviously she's going to know. So Larry goes to the town mayor to try to find out how he can meet up with Elsa. By faking a name, he changes his name to Taylor from Talbot, and says he wants to buy the land from her. So
he's a master of disguise.
This is when we get introduced to Ilona Massey, who has a vaguely European accent. Not really sure what her accent's supposed to be.
I don't even think she knew.
No. So the mayor leaves them alone. And Larry's like, I need to find your dad's notes because I want to die.
And she's just like looking at him like, oh, you handsome man. Would you like to go out into town and have some wine with me? It's a festival tonight, you know.
She's like, I don't know where his notes are. I'm not giving them to you. If I knew where they were, I would have destroyed them. But hey, let's go out into the festival tonight and have something to eat.
Yeah. So then we get the festival scene.
Mm-hmm.
Where John Turturro sings a song about wine and whatever else he says, because I can't make it all out.
Can't really understand it. But
he's sucking the souls out of all the people with his eyes and expressions. He's probably the scariest thing in the whole damn movie.
Yeah, he's downright fucking creepy.
But so that's going on.
So he's singing and goes up to Larry and singing about eternal life, and Larry's getting anxious. He's like, I want to die. I want to die.
don't sing this song about living forever. I want to die right now.
So he gets up and he's screaming at him and just freaking out. And Elsa's just sitting there like, God, you're hot. And,
man, I don't think there's anyone else in this world that I would find as hot as you right now. Is that your doctor?
Lon Chaney, such a sexy man.
Yeah.
And then like Dr. Mannering's there.
Yeah.
And you're like, how did he get here? Like,
he just finds him. Yeah. And then all of a sudden she's just like, oh, doctor. You're like way hotter than this piece of shit.
Apparently there aren't any good looking men in Eastern Europe.
Honestly, we were looking at the people that live in that town. It's like you said, there's fucking Teddy Roosevelt wearing a goddamn like picnic blanket around his waist because he's. Yeah. Everybody else, like, it was just like, we're dressed for Oktoberfest all the time.
Just lederhosen 24/7.
So yeah, he probably seeing somebody that's wearing a suit is like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This guy's suit is hot.
So, this is when Dr. Mannering learns that she's actually descended from Frankenstein. He's like, oh, I know about him. I learned about him in school and all the stuff that he did. And Larry's still there wanting to die. And then all of a sudden, here comes Bela Lugosi as the creature walking in the town, just knocking stuff over.
It's just like, rah! And that's basically how he played him.
Yeah.
Like, I did it perfectly. He's like, rah! Just knock something over. And then, like, everybody's running away. So Chaney's like, hold on, come with me. Puts them on the fucking cart that had all their booze on it.
Yeah.
Lugosi awkwardly climbs into this thing.
He's sitting on the back of it, like the way he's sitting reminds me of like that picture of like that painting of George on Seinfeld where he's like top, like his shirt's off and he's like angled all provocatively. Yeah. That is how Lugosi is on the back of this wagon as Chaney just pulls out and they run out of town as the beer barrels are just rolling down into the street. And
very awkward.
Yeah.
Very awkward.
Extremely awkward. So at this point, they're like, well, where the hell are they going? Well, obviously they're going to the ruins.
Yeah.
At this point, the villagers are like after her because she's descendant of Frankenstein because it's all her fault.
Yeah, they just piece that together. They're like, well, she has that last name, so this is all her fault.
Yeah, and the doctor's evil too, apparently. And
yeah, we just met him. Yeah. He's bad news.
And the mayor's like, come on now, we're adhering to Eastern European mob type stereotypes here. Let's use our brains for once. The monster, we thought we killed him. We didn't.
Roosevelt's like, no, I can't use my fists. Gotta blow something up.
So
call me crazy.
So the doctor at this point, he's like, he just wants more knowledge. He wants to learn. And he's like, you know what? All right, let's do this. Let's go up to the ruins. She goes along. He's like, now where's the book? Well, the book is actually inside the area where the creature took Chaney to begin with.
Secretception.
There's another secret passage that you pull down this little lever, and then another door opens up with more chests and a book in there. So he gets the book out, and he's reading over it. He's like, you know what? All I gotta do is reverse polarities.
That's it's easy. We did that in first day in doctor school.
We just gotta drain his batteries.
He's already got bolts sticking out of his neck. It's like hooking up a car battery. How hard is this gonna be?
And he's like, oh, this equipment's not burned at all. We could probably fix this up and use it. I'm thinking,
just hasn't been used in centuries. It's why it's like, rusted to hell. I mean, fuck, I got the Cinnabon sign right over here. All I gotta do is water coming under the castle. You just fucking flip the switch.
This doctor.
It's turnkey. This could be your own mad scientist kit right here.
It's like this doctor, like he minored in mad science. Like he just immediately knows how to use these electrode machines to reverse polarity to drain the monster's energy. I'm like, I don't understand anything that's going on here. So they decide they're gonna do it. They're gonna somehow drain their energy down to nothingness. And the gypsy woman's there this whole time. Yeah. Like, what purpose is she serving at this point? Like, she's just there.
I don't know why she's there.
And, the interesting thing is you never actually see her get out at the end, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So the doctor, as the more he's getting into it, like, Elsa's noticing that, like, I don't think he's going to go through with this. I think he wants to revive the creature even more. Like, he wants to, like, power him up. Well, guess what? He does. Because he's reading about attaching the minus to the minus.
He got to the Tim Allen section of the book and he's like, oh, how to get more power.
He's like reading through, he's like, attach the minus to the minus. He's like, you know what? I can't destroy this guy. I got to see him at full power.
Yeah.
So he's got him strapped down to the Craftmatic adjustable bed from the 1920s, and
or the rack, as we call it.
He decides that he's gonna power up Lugosi. He's gonna basically burn his neck until he wakes up, and looks over and smiles.
Yeah. I thought, like, we were watching that, I was like, that fucking fake screw in his neck is literally on fire right now. There's real smoke coming off of that. So they're actually pumping real electricity into something.
Yeah.
And he does, like, he's just like, He's like, looks at him like,
I like what you're doing here.
Thank you.
As this is happening, all of a sudden, Chaney is now turning into the wolf again, because once again,
there's another full
moon.
Yeah.
And that sets up our final scene where the doctor gets knocked out and Frankenstein's creature, Lugosi, picks up the woman and or Elsa, and is trying to carry her out. And then, here comes, the Wolfman, pulls him down like horse collars him, like pulls him down like from behind. He drops Elsa face first onto
actress, just like, wow. That was like a 3-foot drop.
Yeah.
Straight on the rocks on her face. Yeah.
So then basically comes the scene of them actually fighting.
It's not a fight.
They're basically,
they're rolling around on a dirty floor.
At this point, these two actors are probably, well, I know Lugosi at this time was probably in his late 40s. Lon's probably in his early 40s, and they were probably wasted because they used to drink a lot on set. So they're basically just rolling around, speeding up the photography to make it seem more intense. Meanwhile, the bartender who had said, well, you know how we can get rid of them? We'll just blow the dam up and just drown them like rats. Yeah. So he's up there on the dam setting dynamite.
This morbidly obese man climbed up this mountain with dynamite.
So he sets off, blows up the dam. The water's coming crashing down. The doctor comes to, him and Elsa get out, and the ruins are washed away. The end.
Yeah. The end. And I'm like, what? What? There's so much. Did they make it out? Are they still alive? Is this town going to get swiped off the face of the earth from this rampant flood coming down from the hills?
Yeah. It felt like, okay, we got to end it. We ran out of funds. We just got to end it.
Oh, Universal. How the mighty have fallen.
Well, this was when, in the 1940s, was when they were starting to think, you know what? The more monsters we put on the screen, the more people are going to come out. And then they start with 2, and then they go to 3. And then it's like, well, we have to have a 4th one. And then, like, they kept adding them up. And that's really what kind of killed the Universal Monster series, from the 30s and the 40s.
Yeah. Are you listening, Marvel?
Pretty much ended. A lot of people consider, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein to be the end, because it was the last time Lugosi played Dracula. And I think the last time for Universal that Lon Chaney played a werewolf. And, so this film's known for basically, it was Lugosi's chance to be the monster, and it was awful.
Yeah.
You just did a
I
terrible
job. Do
job.
not know how you fuck up the role of Frankenstein's monster, but he did. Mm-hmm. As I told you, whenever he knocked something over and went, I was like, it looks like a baby.
Yeah.
Like, he's not fearsome. And plus, like I said, I was like, I wonder how thick the soles on those boots were, because, like, Lugosi's like 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
Like, he's a short guy compared to Karloff.
And there's a scene, like, Lon Chaney's a pretty tall guy, and the scene where they're, like, in the Frankenstein ruins, and, like, you can see, like, he's, like, a foot taller than him.
Yeah.
It leads me to believe he was probably standing on, like, a soapbox or something.
Probably.
Because that's the only way they could have done that.
Because in walking scenes, you could clearly see that they were almost like leveled height.
Yeah.
And that's like,
and
that's even being generous.
And any time that they were filming the creature, they were trying to do it from a lower angle to make him look taller too.
Yeah.
After this, in the next film that they featured the Frankenstein monster, Lon Chaney played it. And then after that, Glenn Strange played it. Glenn Strange, who was the bartender on Gunsmoke, is what everybody remembers him for. So this was the first time that Universal had done the Frankenstein monster without it being Karloff. And it
shows.
It definitely shows.
Yeah.
Not an awful film. It had some fun scenes. It has great, sets for the...
Yeah, I will give it that.
Yeah.
The sets are amazing. But we said earlier, you're just in places that you don't know where they are sometimes. But when we started the movie, I was like, one thing that Universal did right is they had amazing cemetery sets. And it was. The atmosphere of the movie gives you is perfect. Like, I'll give it that. Acting, not so much. But it's not a long movie either, so you can get it in and out, like, fairly quickly and still, it's not enjoyable.
Yeah.
I had more fun watching this than The Beast with Five Fingers.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, most of the Universal films at this time are probably about a little over an hour long.
Yeah. I give it a solid 7.5 out of 10, I think. It's not something that I wouldn't watch again ever in my life. Like, if somebody had it and like, oh, we're going to watch Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, I'm like, oh, okay, fine. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
If somebody's like, hey, we're going to watch Beast with Five Fingers, I'm like, you're not my friend anymore. I kid. It wasn't that.
Yeah, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. Yeah, I'll go right along with you there.
Yeah.
With 7.5.
It's not bad. Not the strongest Universal entry, but it wasn't terrible. There's a lot worse.
There are.
In there. So that was, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, and that ends, Spooktober cinema for Spooktober, I guess, for the October season.
Absolutely.
If you guys like these series, let us know. Maybe next year we'll do 2017, and we'll see what happens. So thank you guys so much for joining us for this new series we did, and hopefully we'll see it again in the future. So thank you very much. Have a happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
See ya.